How's it going? My name's Andrew Muse. I'm a professional adventure athlete and I'm here at Rocky Mountain Yeti, Evanston to pick up a new truck. Let's see what this place has to offer.
How you doing?
Good, I'm Andrew. I'm looking for a truck.
Probably something mid-size.
Reliable, something safe, something fun to drive, comfortable on the inside.
Walk up and touch toe a little bit, but there. So, go ahead and push this. It'll automatically recognize.
I think this is the one.
All right, let's go inside and take a look at the new.
Okay.
I got a last-minute call from my friend Alex Doy to fly to Alaska and paddleboard 87 miles down the Kenai River to the Cook Inlet. Of course I couldn't say no. When we first arrived, the forecast looked cold and rainy the entire time. I had never seen anything like this before. Thousands upon thousands of massive salmon driven by instinct to swim from the ocean hundreds of miles upstream in hopes to reproduce and inevitably die.
So since I'm so terrible at catching fish, I'm just gonna float my way back downstream. When you look like the blueberry from Willy Wonka, everyone knows you're cool.
The next morning the rain cleared and we made it to the put-in on the Kenai Lake. In all honesty, I think I've been on a paddleboard less than 10 times, and we were about to set off on an 87-mile, multi-day mission down the Kenai River through some Class 3+ whitewater. This should be interesting. We crossed the Kenai Lake and made it to the first whitewater section. I think I may have found my calling. This might be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The limestone-lined, glacial-fed Skilak Lake has the most brilliant blue water filled with fish and surrounded by thriving wildlife. After over 20 miles of paddling and completely exhausted, we set in for the night. We broke down camp, inflated the paddleboards, and made our way down the Skilak Lake. Not too long into our paddle across the lake, we got a brilliant idea. For me, this is what life's all about. Good friends, epic scenery, and jumping off of things. Doesn't get much better than that.
Would you look at that view?
After a long paddle, we made it to camp, ate some dinner, and went for a sunset paddle. We were warmly welcomed by a sunny morning and was able to drop the dry suit for a bit as we continued down the majestic Kenai River. The most challenging part of the river was just ahead, and shit got real fast. It was a bit of an ass-kicking, but so much fun. Just down the river, we checked out this super cool fishing village, where some locals told us about a secret sauna in the forest. I could really use a warm-up after those rapids anyways. The next morning, we made our final push to the Cook Inlet, battling winds, high seas, and seagulls.
Have you got pooped on yet?
Lots of seagulls. Over the course of 3 days, we paddled over 87 miles from the Kenai Lake, down the Kenai River to the Cook Inlet. This was most definitely an incredible adventure. Big thanks to Coast Portland for keeping the lights on, Immersion Research for keeping me dry, Pelican Case for keeping my gear safe, and Backcountry.com for everything else in between. Keep an eye out for the editorial piece of this adventure in the upcoming issue of Sup Magazine. Lots more adventures on the way, make sure to stay tuned.
So, this is our home for tonight. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is our sleeping arrangement. All tied in. Got John Ross, climbing gear. We're heading to the summit in the morning. Yeah.
Morning, Ross Boss.
Morning.
How you feeling?
Great.
What part?
Ha ha ha. Woo! Made it to the ridge. Now we just need to walk up and over, I think, to that next peak. Just a little bit higher. Fly a little bit longer.
That was so lifty. That was
Sick. Oh, there they come.
After a long and snowy winter, which I'm not complaining about by any means, spring finally came to Utah. Kicker, myself, my friend Joe, and her pup made our way to some of my favorite hot springs. About a 2-hour drive from Park City, we made it to the parking lot. We geared up, threw Kicker's pack on, and hit the trail. After setting up some hammocks, we made a small fire and set in for the night. Just before sunrise the next morning, we made our way up the trail to the hot springs. This place is so beautiful. What the? People the night before left all of their trash and threw beer cans and glow sticks everywhere. After just a couple minutes of running around picking up trash, this place was back the way it's supposed to look. What was I saying? Oh yeah, this place is beautiful. After what felt like a 12-hour drive, myself, Kicker Dog, and 4 of my closest friends made it to the Big Horns, a mountain range located in northern Wyoming. We stayed at the Wyoming High Country Lodge in a small private cabin. After getting in late, we woke up the next morning to snag some breakfast in the main lodge. This place is incredible. All the food you can eat in a beautiful lodge with great people and access to the mountains. After breakfast, we set off on our sleds to check out the surrounding area and see what kind of trouble we could get into. We're not very good sledders, as you can tell, but we had quite the adventure and one hell of a time. I tell you what, I have never been to a place where the hosts were so friendly and on top of their game. This food was bomb. After amazing feasts, we crashed out to get ready for the next morning. Not only is this place world class for snowmobiling and backcountry snowboarding and skiing, but snow kiting as well. If you don't have a sled, they'll run you out with a snowcat and this custom heated trailer. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Sun comes up and rises high. It's so hot, it's gonna make me cry. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Woo!
thanks to the Wyoming High Country Lodge for the amazing experience. We will definitely be back next year. Sick day. Sick day. Good day, guys. That was so fun.
It's a
Alright, so we're here at the Oneonta waterfall hike. I've never done it before. It's raining, hence the wetsuit. The water's probably like 35 degrees, so let's see how this goes. Waterfall! Check this thing out! What a good dog!
let's do it. So apparently, you got 4 or 5 sleds stuck in this gully. These dudes want to pirouette this sled, and that's what we're doing. Nick, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I've heard you get stuck snowmobiling a lot, but I feel like you don't get stuck and then go 10 feet and get stuck.
3, 2, 1.
So how you feeling? You not ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Joe, you scared?
Good.
No, I'm not scared.
You look scared.
I'm not.
Put your hands.
I felt like it was on a roller coaster. It's kind of scary.
To the Wildwood River access. Kicker is really excited, I guess. You want to go paddleboarding? Good day.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
Hey, good boy. What's up? We are up in the Sawtooths, getting ready for the solar eclipse. We have maybe 2 hours till it begins, and trying to get set up so we have some mountains in the foreground and the sun just to the right of it. That's kind of my vision here. Yeah, should make for some really rad photos. So we finally made it out to the spot. The sun is gonna rise right behind me, and got the camera all set up. We have some time here. We're just waiting for the sun to line up just right. We're gonna start taking some photos. Phew. So what's happening? This is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. The light right now is like so trippy. Got the drone going, the camera, so got kind of a lot going on, but and there she goes. Oh my God! Oh! The eclipse. I did my best to capture it. It was really challenging, just the way, you know, talk about contrast. It's really wild out here, but we found a beautiful spot, didn't see another person, and got to experience the solar eclipse, something that I've dreamt of as a kid. So it was really cool, well worth it, and you know, it's never bad to be in a place that's beautiful. So see you guys later. Yoo!
I've had this dream project to backcountry snowboard to the bottom of a slot canyon and ice climb back up through with Kicker. We left snowy Park City and headed up to the majestic La Salle Mountains, which overlook the Moab Desert. The La Salles are one of my favorite and most unique places on earth. We woke up the next morning to a frigid 5 degrees and eventually peeled ourselves from our sleeping bags to make some breakfast and catch up with my good friends Lindsay Ham and Adam Phillips.
It's powering.
My good friend turned an old Arc'teryx coat into an ice climbing jacket for Kicker. We geared up, threw climbing skins on the split board and skis, and hit the trail. Conditions were a bit tough, but after some survival snowboarding, we made it to the bottom of the Pleiades Slot Canyon. This high mountain slot canyon is beyond impressive. The 400-foot tall walls and incredibly beautiful rock formations are stunning and intimidating to say the least. With snowboard-specific crampons and ice climbing tools, we made our way up this multi-pitch ice climb, led by my good friend and future AMGA guide, Lindsay Ham. Kicker is in a climbing-specific dog harness, and I would never put him in a situation that I wasn't absolutely certain I couldn't get him through safely.
Good boy. Good boy.
Yeah, good boy, you ready?
Doing it.
Good one.
Come on, kicker.
Oh yeah.
What a good boy.
Legit.
Wow.
This side's way cool.
Nice. With authority.
Nice. Thanks, Adam.
Yep.
After several pitches of ice, we made our way back to the top of the slot canyon and rode home.
Are you like the happiest dog ever? Check this thing out. This is our new truck. All right, load up. Go ahead.
What? This thing's sick.
Yeah.
I just turned this old school truck camper into this, the home of my dreams. Watch as my best friend Buddha and I travel the country for the next 6 months and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Welcome to episode 5 of the Tiny Home Adventure. We started off by checking out the mythical redwood forests. I spent most of my childhood in the woods building forts and exploring. This place just felt like home.
Shiver aims the gun. The undertow takes me far away where my soul is clean. So come on.
Next we hit Florence, Oregon for some sandboarding, kiteboarding, and a combination of the two. We caught up with Jenny Milton, legendary snowkiter and badass drone pilot.
Its means of complexion point me in the right direction. Gold turns to dust and water turns to wine. And with this thick love you can very well stop time. Still hungry.
Finally, I made it to Hood River, where I'll be spending the next 2 months honing my kite skills with Booter and seeing what kind of adventures this place has to offer.
Has come to control me, but with its power seeds this flower, and I'm leaking tryptophan. Lay back now, let this wave crash on you now. This serum has cured me, but my soul is still hungry.
Huge thanks to my friends, family, and sponsors. Special thanks to Jenny Milton for the drone footage, Soft Cactus for the awesome tunes, and to everyone who took the time to watch. Episode 6 drops August 1st. Thanks for watching. I just turned this old school truck camper into this, the home of my dreams. Watch as my best friend Buddha and I travel the country for the next 6 months and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Welcome to the Tiny Home Adventure. We started off by exploring Neon Canyon. This technical slot canyon was full of water from the rain in episode 11.
Did you rise up from the fire?
We ended up having to swim several hundred yards in 55-degree water.
The sun blending with the choir, singing just for one, just a mirror image.
This awesome slot canyon ends by rappelling into the Golden Cathedral. This was absolutely one of the coolest rappels of my life.
Taken for the team. Can you feel it in the air? Sound the alarm. Are you caught up in the snares? Twisting my arm. Is it more than you can bear?
Long day.
After the long hike out with 60-pound packs, we made our way to the Dixie National Forest.
When it's happening again, did you visit Laura? Is she speaking tongues? It's hard to understand you. Water in your lungs. Something from a movie. A monster on a screen. Have you read the news? The news, the news, the homecoming queen. Can you feel it in the air? Sound the alarm. Are you caught up in the snares? Twisting my arm. Is it more than you can bear? Reached a dead end. Try not to be scared. Well, it's happening again. Have you looked at the
Next, we made it to Moab and set up a fun rope swing.
Are you losing your mind? Do you feel like a tourist? Are you afraid of?
Be assured Booter is in a climbing grade harness, totally safe, and couldn't get enough. That evening, we headed to Ancient Art to set up a time lapse. We ended up sleeping on the ledge just before the final pitch. we headed to one of the highline destinations outside of Moab. We spent about 7 hours rigging one of the most insane rope swings I have ever seen. Listen closely as you can hear my friend's heart beating through his chest. This is by far the gnarliest thing I have ever done, and a great way to end the tiny home adventure. Well, that wraps up episode 12 in season 1 of the Tiny Home Adventure. Thanks for watching. A little pup named Kicker Dog came into my life after I almost lost it all. Watch as we take this badass adventure van on the road trip of a lifetime. There were highs and there were lows. We pushed our limits, learned a lot, and met some incredible people along the way. But above all else, we had fun. Welcome to season 2 of the Tiny Home Adventure. With the help of my sponsors and the people who donated, I was able to get a new vehicle which was going to be my home for the foreseeable future. As time passed and things came together, I got a phone call from Paul, the firefighter from the scene of the accident who helped me. It turns out his family breeds Goldens and Golden Doodles, and that they would like to give me one. This was extremely difficult for me. Although puppies are probably the best thing in the world, I was still crushed by the loss of Booter and couldn't imagine replacing him. He was literally the best dog I could have ever imagined. How can another dog ever live up to that? What if this new puppy didn't like the snow or the lifestyle I had created? What if this puppy was a terrible mistake? I decided to put those fears aside and spent over 4 hours at Paul's family's house to choose this sleepy little golden nugget. I present to you, Kicker Dog. Bye guys, make sure you give Paul a big hug for me, tell him I love him, and thank you. Love you guys, you're so amazing. I plopped him down in the snow as we got home, and to my ecstatic relief, he went full party mode. It was this moment I knew we were gonna get along just fine.
Run so good.
Shortly after getting him home, I started to introduce him to the lifestyle we were going to live. From sledding to my friend's backcountry cabin to meet his dogs, slides and puppy wrestling matches at Outdoor Retailer, to snow kiting, to backcountry winter camping, making sure to keep him happy, warm, and safe along the way. Our bond was immediate.
Good boy.
After a few weeks of hard work, the van got a wrap and we were ready to hit the road.
Now the adventure of a lifetime.
Kicker and I set out for our first backcountry snowboard tour. I carried him some of the way, but he was eager to get some face shots on his own. I think he got a little bit more than he bargained for.
Oh my god, you're crazy.
With a massive storm forecasted for southern Utah, the Rosignol crew and I loaded up into the van with just a little bit of gear in hopes to ride a very special zone.
Kicker! Thank you.
It's happening. Is it happening?
Woo! New King! This is nuts. Good boy.
.5:30 a.m. wake up, and we got the crew.
Desert of southern Utah. Andrew Muse is about to go do a first descent through this hole in the rock right here.
Big thanks to all the people who reached out and inspired me not to give up. Your kindness literally saved my life. Make sure to tune in and follow Kicker and I on the rest of our epic tiny home adventure. Thanks for watching. A little pup named Kicker Dog came into my life after I almost lost it all. Watch as we take this badass adventure van on the road trip of a lifetime. There were highs and there were lows. We pushed our limits, learned a lot, met some incredible people along the way. But above all else, we had fun. Welcome to Season 2 of the Tiny Home Adventure. We set off to the Moab Desert towards Looking Glass Arch, where we got real stuck in the snow. Thankfully, we were walking distance from the rope swing from Season 1. My good friend Taylor was going to join for the leg of this trip, so I figured I would start it off right and scare the shit out of him.
Taylor!
Don't let go with this, and I'll walk you through the breakdown. Don't wrap, don't ever wrap, nope. Just lock that one down. Yep, both hands below. Now your money. Okay. So send it, buddy. Yeah. After the swing, we freed the van and headed to Moab. We're here in Moab, and I'm not really sure what happened, but now I can no longer turn right. This is all fucking weird, and there's some shit going on in here. We don't really know what the hell's going on there. We tried taking some shit apart, putting it back together. Definitely not mechanically inclined at all.
I mean, I think it's gonna drive us home. I don't know. We'll find out.
Thankfully, we got the van back on the road and headed to one of my favorite desert campsites. This is as good as it gets in my opinion. The sun rose, we made breakfast, got a little work done, and then headed to Colorado to meet up with my good friend Lindsay Ham for some ice climbing.
Hi, how are you?
I met Lindsay years ago, right when she first started learning to climb. Now she's a total badass and well on her way to becoming a full AMGA guide. The student has definitely become the master. We made it to the zone and Kicker got to experience his first rappel. Please note he is tied into a dog-specific climbing harness with no possible way to slip out. I would trust my own life in his gear. Awesome time ice climbing, did some mixed climbing, and Lindsay Ham showed us how it's done. Sick day. So good to see you.
I love you.
After parting ways with Lindsay, we checked out some hot springs she told us about.
Good boy. It's okay. Go on. You choose your own path, buddy. Kicker, don't go up it. Good boy. It's a bit concerning. Don't touch it. What is it? Good boy. You're so brave.
Introducing Kicker to things in a safe, fun way is the most important part of raising an adventure dog. Kicker has been so incredible. I'm so relieved Kicker is the dog that he is.
What do you got, buddy? Come here.
After the hot springs, we headed north to one of my favorite snow kiting zones called Togety Pass. Sit. Harnessing the power of the wind to travel miles upon miles across the snow, with the ability to jump insane heights while landing like stepping off a curb, is an incredible sensation. Unless you blow it. After getting my butt kicked on the kite and trying to learn how to ride the sled, I decided to open up a piece of mail that had been sent to me by a fan named Brenna Tachi. She made us this pretty cool painting, which I haven't opened yet. To Andrew Muse and loving memory of Buddha Muse. That is awesome. That's really cool. Right? That is super badass. Well, that wraps up episode 2 of the Tiny Home Adventure, season 2. If you want to keep up with our latest endeavors, follow Kicker and I on Instagram at Andrew__Muse. Thank you all so much for the love and support. Thanks for watching. A little pup named Kicker Dog came into my life after I almost lost it all. Watch as we take this badass adventure van on the road trip of a lifetime. There were highs and there were lows. We pushed our limits, learned a lot, and met some incredible people along the way. But above all else, we had fun. Welcome to season 2 of the Tiny Home Adventure. Speed flying and paragliding are something I've really wanted to learn for a long time. So we headed to the world-renowned Cloud9, just an hour south of Park City, Utah, to learn.
So on the mountain, launch right now.
Let's do it. Yeah. This looks awesome. Having flown several hundred feet off the deck on a snow kite before, I wanted to learn how to safely fly. Speed flying is where you take a very small paraglider and run or ski off mountains. My goal is to build my skill set to where I can fly in Alaska. Unfortunately, we have a pretty nasty gas leak. This entire seam is leaking propane. You turn it on immediately and you can smell it within a 15 to 30 yard radius. So we're gonna try and replace that. Had someone been smoking a cigarette close by when I tried to run the heater, we would have probably exploded. So glad we got that fixed, and yeah, time to hit the road to Tahoe. 5 feet in the forecast, let's do this. Tahoe had been getting pounded all season and had more than 5 feet forecasted, so Taylor and I headed west to catch up with some good friends and ride some power. I went to high school with Matt and Ted and had climbed with Ashley in season 1. It was great to see everyone together and spend a few days riding powder. After an awesome few days with some friends, we ran back to Park City for the final regroup before heading towards Alaska. These long hauls require lots of potty breaks for Kicker. It's crazy how fast he's growing. Right before I was supposed to leave, I was asked to be the featured artist for the grand opening of Park City's first winery, Old Town Cellars. If you're interested, you can find prints at andrewmuseproductions.com. This was a great way for me to see my closest friends before heading to Alaska for the next few months. I bought a sled trailer and outfitted it with some additional storage. Unfortunately, 2 days before we were supposed to leave for Alaska, Taylor told me that he would not be able to make it due to personal reasons. I had to scramble to try and find another filmer and partner for this adventure. I put an ad out and my good friend Anton from Sweden responded. He was in Germany when we first spoke, but I needed him ASAP, so we traveled from Germany to Sweden to Washington with less than 72 hours notice. Anton is a badass and I'm so psyched to have him on the trip with me. Finally, we are headed to the Canadian border and officially Alaska bound. So far, this has been one incredible adventure, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of this epic road trip has in store.
All ready to roll.
Thank you all so much for the love and support. If you'd like to keep up with our latest endeavors, follow us on Instagram at Andrew__Muse. Thanks for watching.